Hi everyone. Today we're going to set up Ignition on our computer so that we can run a local instance of Sparkplug B and test out communication from EasyBuilder Pro to our local Sparkplug B MQTT broker. So to get started, I'll go ahead and download Ignition from the Inductive Automation website, and I have to enter in all my personal information. So I just filled out their form. We're downloading Ignition right now. The sheet that I had up a second ago has a list of some very simple instructions that we're going to follow to set up Ignition on our computer, because I actually have only first used Ignition about 1 day ago. So this is also pretty new for me too. Okay, so we got our file. Let's go ahead and run an install. It's just taking a really long time. I think it might be my computer here. Install will be reverted. Okay, all right, installation failed. So let's try it again. Installation also failed on this one too. Let's try the third time. This will work. It will work. I did this on another computer. I know it's gonna work. Okay, so it wouldn't let me install it in my program files. I think it's a Windows issue, but I was able to install it into my C drive in a folder called apps. It's not where I would ever install anything except for this one time. So we'll go ahead and start our Ignition gateway, and if I remember right, it's going to take just a minute or so. All right, and we're going to choose, as I mentioned before, we're going to choose Standard Edition, and I did read all of these terms and conditions. We'll configure our user account. I'll leave all the default ports, and we'll start our gateway. And so that's the first step. So we install Ignition. Afterwards, we're going to need some MQTT modules. So we're going to need the MQTT engine module and the MQTT distributor module so that we can run a local instance of our broker. So while the gateway is starting here, we will go to their third-party modules section. So it's going to be inductiveautomation.com/downloads/third-party modules, and then 8.3.0. All right. And as I mentioned before, we're going to get this MQTT distributor module in the MQTT engine module. And then I'll go back to our gateway and we'll log in to using the username and password that we just set up. So now we need to install the modules that we just downloaded. And afterwards, we'll want to restart Ignition, or our Ignition gateway. So what I'm going to do is, there is a section here. I think it's in Services, Connections. Nope. Oh, Services. Sorry. Maybe I'm incorrect here. Oh, there we go. Okay, so Platform, System, and Modules. And then in the top right corner, we'll want to select install or upgrade a module, and then we'll choose the two module files. So we'll choose our engine and I'll install the module. And then we'll do our MQTT distributor module. Well, not our module, but the module that we downloaded. And so this is from, I believe it's Cirrus Link, CIRRUS Link. They have their own website with additional documentation related to the MQTT engine and MQTT distributor module. So be sure to visit their site for more in-depth information. But we've installed both these modules, so we can see our engine and distributor module, but we actually have to restart the gateway, which actually looks like we can do right here. So I'll click on this Restart Gateway option. Okay, I think it's restarting. Okay, previously I did a restart, but I did it from the command line. If you want to use the command line, you would navigate using the Windows command for navigating through different directories is CD, and then in quotation, you would want to put the location in which you installed the Ignition gateway. So by default, it should be C program files inductive automation and ignition. So that would be your command line. And then the command to restart it would be gwcmd.bat space-r. That's what all the information on the web tells me. And it worked, so I know that'll work. And this worked too, so we're gonna go with this. A lot easier. All right, so let's jump back to platform, system, modules, and double check our engine and our distributor module are now active and running, so everything's good there. Now, if we go to connections, we'll see both the MQTT engine and MQTT distributor module. So this is going to allow us to, the MQTT distributor, I believe, should allow us to operate as a broker here. So if we go to MQTT engine settings and servers, we should see the status of the default server installation is connected. If you don't see it as connected, it's disconnected, or says something else, it may be that you did not install the MQTT distributor module. So make sure this is installed as well. So this is connected. We have the username. I don't know what the password is on that, so maybe we'll change the password, and I'm just going to give it a default password. Something easy for me to remember. And then in the distributor settings here, we'll go to users, and we already have an admin user. I think we should be able to just change the password as well on this guy. And we'll try this user account first. But I mean, we're all set up, so we're ready to go. So let's jump into EasyBuilder Pro now and get our HMI or our HMI software connected. So as far as what products you can use to connect via Sparkplug B, really it's within the CMTX series range. If you choose, and I'll just show you just for the sake of demonstration, if you were to choose like an IP series here, you may have, well, don't even have MQTT option available. So if we go to like an IE series, we'll have MQTT, but the cloud service listed is just generic. So let me show you what it looks like on the CMTX series now. So let's create one more new project. We'll jump up to our CMTX series because this is what you're looking for. Is in the IIoT/energy tab, you'll select the MQTT option, enable it just as I just did in the previous two demonstrations. And you'll see in that cloud service drop-down list, it no longer just says generic like it does for our IE series. It also lists AWS IoT and, more importantly, Sparkplug B EON. So we'll select Sparkplug B EON. And I have a couple setting notes here. So I'm going to select the MQTT protocol version 3.1.1. We can leave our default IP as 127.0.0.1. This is the loopback IP, so we're going to be communicating with ourselves. So the PC is the broker, so we're going to run a simulation, and it's going to communicate with the ignition gateway that's also installed on my computer. The default port was actually shown in this video prior. It might actually be somewhere here in the MQTT engine or the distributor tab. Oh yes, right here. So the enabled TCP in the port is 1883. So we'll leave that port in there as well. The client ID we can also leave as %2. It's just going to give us a random client ID. So if you're looking at the MQTT logs, if you're very familiar with Ignition, and you start going through the log files, you'll see this giant random string. It's just the client ID that's randomly generated from our side. The keep alive time, we can probably leave at 10 seconds as well, and we'll want to use our account or from our users list in the MQTT distributor. And so that is appropriately set up, so everything's good there. The keep alive time, I don't think we need to adjust this. 10 seconds should be fine. If we go to the address tab, we can see the status address. So a lot of different connection objects. And EasyBuilder Pro have status addresses. These are addresses you can use to monitor the connection status and also review any error codes that you might receive. The error code will be in decimal format, and then you can check our user manual to determine what that error code actually means. So in this case, the status address defaults to LW0, and we can see that the status LW0 is either going to be a 0, which is stopped, a 1, which is disconnected, or a 2, which is connected. If everything has gone well during the setup, we should just have a 2 in this status address. And then the group ID and the edge node ID, I suppose it's not necessary to change these. I'll probably just change them just so we have some additional confirmation that everything is going through right. And we'll just say Weintek edge node here. The QoS settings, I guess previously I had used a QoS of 0. QoS stands for quality of service. There's a lot of information related to MQTT and QoS levels. There's basically QoS from 0 through 2, and it depends on how you want to guarantee the delivery of the information. Just for testing purposes, which is all we're doing for this video, we can leave the QoS settings to 1. And then we'll go to the device tab, and then we can select a tag that we want to actually send back to our broker or publish to our broker. So in this case, we can leave the tag name as tag 0. That's totally fine. This LW0 in real world, you're probably going to be publishing data from an external device. I just created this project right now, and I'm not connected to any device. I do have a couple controllers here, but we're not going to use them in this video. We're just going to, again, we're just testing. So we're going to publish some data from our local HMI's memory, which LW2 is the local words. We're just going to avoid using LW0 and LW1 because those are already used for the status and error codes. So I'll just use LW2, and we'll just send a 16-bit unsigned integer and click OK. So now we want to create a status and error. So this is our status and our error address. And then if we wanted to actually update this data, we can create a little object for LW2 here. Let's go ahead and save this project. So I will call this our Sparkplug, and then we'll run an online simulation. So hopefully everything's going to connect here. You never know. I thought it was going to install earlier and it didn't. And sometimes things don't work out. So again, we're looking for a 2 right here. Okay, and it's connected. So everything's connected. Actually, what's kind of cool is while we're running the online simulation, if you right click on the simulation instance, you can open the diagnoser just by selecting diagnoser in that context menu, like I just did. And in the MQTT tab, you can see, for example, if I change a number here, you can see a publish. So you can see our publish is going out. It's kind of just a additional confirmation. There are some other tabs within this tab. So MQTT, adders, publish, subscribed. These are available if you're using like a generic form of MQTT. But since we're using Sparkplug B, this console essentially is all that's available to us right now. But it's good confirmation. If we if we set up a control address in here, for example, and we manually disconnected and reconnected, we could see our births and deaths. Yeah, it's good information. So we're all set on the HMI side. We can see that we're connected. How do we validate this on the Ignition side? I'm not very familiar with Ignition, but I know we can do so using Ignition's designer tool. So what I'm going to do is we'll open up our Ignition gateway. I'll go to Home and Designer. I guess it's Home. Yeah, Designer. We'll go to Download, and we'll need to download Designer. And I guess I'll just choose all the default options to kind of speed things up. Hopefully it installs. Actually didn't mind this application. All right, okay, so now I am going to click Add Designer, Suppose I'll select our local gateway instance, click Add Designer, and then we will open Designer. Sometimes these things take time. Well, while I wait for the Designer to open, I will note that previously, when I had set up my last ignition instance on another computer, again, just yesterday, I did run into a little issue in the beginning, or I thought I had ran into a little issue. And so I changed a few settings, DData, QoS. Again, if you're running into some sort of connection issue, those settings they're probably not going to fix the issue. We want to make sure that those two modules are installed and have the correct settings. If you followed everything verbatim to this tutorial, I know we have some additional documentation floating out there, but if you follow this tutorial, you should be able to get everything up and running. So let's go ahead and log in now that Designer is all set up, and we'll create a new project, and I'll call this project. And I'm not really going to set anything up beyond just using Designer simply to view our tag data, just because I'm not that familiar with Ignition, to be honest. I still love it.
Yes, now's a good time to ask them to drop a comment.
Yes. If you have any interesting technologies you'd like us to see covered next, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. All right, Designer's open, so we'll select, boy, what are we gonna do? We're gonna do something here. Oh, we're gonna click Create New View right up here, and then I'll select View, Create View. And I feel like we're supposed to see some tags in here. Okay, all right, yeah, so we do. So we have this tag browser down here in the bottom left corner. It said default. I just switched it to MQTT engine, and we'll go to edge nodes. We can see Weintek group in there. Look at that. All right. I know that's a good sign because I didn't define Weintek group as a name in Ignition. So it has to be coming from our online simulation. And if we go to edge node, Weintek edge node, I can't expand this any further. Oh, there we go. And then we go down to local HMI. We can see tag 0. Okay, perfect. So what we need to do in our view is go to perspective components and select, I think this data should be coming through as a string. So we'll select a text field and drag this over here. And then as far as what the text is going to be, while I have this component selected next to text, I'll select the little link icon, and then we will select the tag as the binding type, and we're going to do a direct tag path, and we'll select this icon here, expand tags. Oh no, sorry, expand all providers, MQTT engine, edge nodes, Weintek group, Weintek edge node, local HMI, and then we'll select our tag there. Oh, actually, we're going to select our tag and then the value property of our tag. That's all we want to see. Then we'll click OK. And so we can see it's a 4 in here. If I open up our simulation, it is also a 4. And if I change it, it changes up here too. So we're good to go. Everything's connected. I guess the only other portion now would be trying to connect an HMI to our local gateway, which we can try to do that though. I did not take it that far yesterday, but we'll go now. So I'm going to use this CMT 3072 XP here. And I think, okay, yeah, so I already developed our project for a CMT 3072 XP. So should be good. We'll just download to it. I'm going to need one more thing because my computer doesn't actually have an Ethernet port. We're going to need to get a USB to Ethernet adapter, just in this case, but it's not a problem. So let's download this project, hopefully. Okay, all right, yeah, sorry. I thought we were not on the same subnet, but everything looks good now. Is my computer connected to this? Okay, yeah. All right, we're good to go. We're going to download this project. I'm going to close our simulation. Initially, the HMI should not be able to connect to our broker.
Am I out of frame?
Okay. The HMI should not be able to connect to our broker just because firewall, Windows firewalls. So we'll have to shut those off too. I'll be right back. Got a dongle. Okay, something very strange is happening because it says it's connected and it doesn't have any Ethernet cables connected to it. So, just to get you up, when I connected the two, it didn't work. So I took this laptop that I was using and then I put it somewhere else, and then I grabbed a different laptop and I set it down. This is the laptop that I already had installed Ignition on. I think that laptop, some other kind of unknown circumstance related to connections. I'm not going to focus on that. I'm going to focus on this one now. Because I connected these two and it booted up right away, so everything's good. So I'm just reopening Ignition Designer here. And while that opens, let's look at our logs. If we go to Ignition, they have this little logs section here. And this is how I was able to easily see that we were connected to our HMI, other than the connection status here, of course, which already says we're connected. It's just verification from both ends. I like to see that. And Designer is open. Okay, and now we're gonna go to one of those views again. And I might not be doing this 100% right, but again, I'm just not that familiar with Ignition. And we'll select our text, or the little link icon next to our text again, and I will find our tag value from all providers, MQTT engine, edge nodes, Weintek group, Weintek edge node, local HMI, tag 0, and we're going to do tag 0 value. Click OK. Click OK. We have a value of 0 here, and I have a value of 0 on our HMI. If I type in like a 9 or something, and the 9 shows here. Perfect. Okay. So we have connection between the two. I can actually probably VNC into this one too, just so you guys can see. So if we open up 68.1.2, all of our CMTX HMIs have a web server that we can use to view this as well. So we're going to go to the IP address. We're going to just type the IP address of the HMI into our browser. Select after we log in to the default password. It's just 6 ones, so 111.111. You log in, we'll go to Features, Web View Settings, and Web View. And then we'll be prompted probably to log in again unless you have automatic logins here. And now we can see this screen on our HMI. So pretty much exactly how it looks on my HMI right now. So if I type in a 775 here, we see an Ignition. So we're all connected. It really was a pretty simple process from having not used Ignition that much prior. But obviously we had a couple hiccups related to some other kind of networking issues specific to one particular Windows laptop. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave them in the comments section below. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.